Hey everyone, it's Matt, aka Tech Ranger, and...
War never changes.
But you know what does change is how my game looks. I'm always changing something, whether it's a weather mod or a lighting mod. And there's sometimes when you might not want a weather mod or you might not want a lighting mod, but you're just kind of like over the Fallout 4 look and don't really like it anymore. And that's me. So there's a lot of lighting mods for a game like Skyrim, and then weather mods that change the lighting in the game, but you might not necessarily want a weather mod itself. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at some smaller lighting mods, and then that last one is a little bit larger, but it does do some other things other than just lighting. Leave a like down below if you enjoyed the video, and leave a comment if you guys have any questions about anything. With all that said, let's close out this best graphics mods in Fallout 4 series with lighting mods. Now this is a mod that pretty much changes all the lighting in the game. This counts for the DLC as well. Well, because it's required. But as you can see here, it makes interiors darker. And then outside it has the effect of actually changing the weathers up in the game a little bit. So changing the volumetric lighting to give you some pretty crazy looks like this. I did see this in the mod description, and honestly, I'm not really on board with that it doesn't affect performance, because I think it can depending on what you're running. So right here in this instance here, I'm getting a little framey just because I'm looking at the God Ray outside in Diamond City. And then it's also mentioned in the description that the raindrops were actually made larger so it's more visible in the game. I think that can also slow you down in some areas depending on what you're doing. There are times with this mod that the image does look a little bit blown out, but then there's other times when you're outside and everything just looks really good together. And if you like the vanilla look of the game, you can maintain that. You get a really clean picture and your nights are really dark, which will include your interiors. If you do find that you're getting a little too much clear weather and you don't really like the look, there is a Gloom Edition that you can download instead so that there's more rain, fog, and just dreary weather. One thing I want to leave you with is the way this light comes into the window. So I'm in the Hotel Rexford at Good Neighbor, and just look at this window here. Does that not look really good or what? But with that, your interiors are going to be very dark but consistent. It might be too dark for some, so I'm interested to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. So for the most part, Phylight and PhyDark are interior lighting mods, but while we're in Good Neighbor here, let's check out that window in the Hotel Rexford. Let's see how that looks compared to the last mod. Looks a bit different, right? The window, you can't really see out of it. However, you can see the light on the floor pretty clearly, and everything just looks really even here. As we move to the back, take a look at this light here, and you can see it's emitting light. It's shining on the floor, but it's not harsh like in the vanilla version of the game. So Phylight will help out the contrast, the saturation in images that you're seeing, and then also it takes away that kind of hazy look when you're in interiors. With PhyDark, that actually normalizes the lighting coming from lighting sources, so it just makes it so it's not as harsh. There's different flavors of this one, but the lower you go, the darker it's going to get inside. I think this is probably my favorite combo because you can throw in something like Unified Commonwealth weathers, and then you can get some different weathers outside. If you have a flashlight on your weapon, it just looks really good with the darker interiors. Performance wise, compared to the last one, I gotta say it's almost night and day. When you go outside here in Diamond City, I'm looking straight at a God Ray and I'm not losing any frames, or at least it doesn't seem like I am. But with the last one, the lightweight lighting overhaul, I was. So let me know in the comments if you use either Phylight or PhyDark, or both of them together. But with that, we do have one more mod to look at, and it's one that I've gotten a lot of comments about, but never really looked at in a video. So Natural Atmospheric Commonwealth has been around for a little bit, and I found this version. It's the fixed version. This includes Natural Atmospheric Commonwealth and the patches for like Nuka World and Far Harbor, and then it includes some fixes. You can use clarity with this. It sounds like with this mod, the clarity patch gets truncated, so you will need to add that back in. So there's a lot going on with this mod. It's lighting, it's weather, and sometimes it's unique events. After you install the mod, you can actually get to the settings menu in your Pip-Boy. You can actually favorite this, so you don't need to open the Pip-Boy every time. Click on that option, you're going to get this menu with a ton of options. Darker nights, camera effects, even something like third-person camera effects. But wait, there's still more. You can change the colors in your game. We looked at a mod way back called Intensity. It's basically that mod in Natural Atmospheric Commonwealth. So you can do that, but then you actually have everything else that Natural Atmospheric Commonwealth adds to the game. So if your goal is to change the colors in the game, you can change that with the presets, similar to Trey and Filmlux that we looked at in the past. It's going to add a sweeping change to the look of your game, and then you can add on top of that another preset, and then you can disable them as you go. If you decide you don't like the look, you can always go back by disabling it. If you click one once, it'll generally load the second version of that if you want to refine the preset a little bit more. These settings, like the brightness, contrast, saturation, they'll go up in small increments with the plus and minus, and then anytime you want to see what you're doing without the menu, you can always hit that look around option, and it'll basically take the menu away for a few seconds so you can look around. And if you don't like what you're doing, you can always hit reset and it'll reset it to the normal value. I couldn't get the color shades, the RGB, or the bloom options to work. Tried the original NAC mod as well as this one and didn't seem to make a difference. You can actually load random weathers here and then also select your own weathers. Choose different seasons rather than the default one, and then you will have to wait a couple days in game for that to take effect. And to round out the bulk of these settings, you also have things like night brightness, interior override, which would be things like making the interiors darker or brighter. And then you just have straight up NAC options, which are actually gameplay things that Natural Atmospheric Commonwealth actually adds into the game. Lots of options, there's a lot more to cover, but that was just a general overview of what's available to you if you decide to check this one out. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any favorite presets or settings if you're currently using Natural Atmospheric Commonwealth. And as always, I hope that was helpful for you to see some examples and then just see some visuals, and no pun intended, of what all that looked like. And let me know in the comments down below which of these is your favorite, or if you're using one currently, or if you happen to be using weather mod like Vivid Weathers or something like that. But that's it for me. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.